Okay, Rebecca, can you take roll call, please?
Mayor Beller.
Here.
Councilman Bergeron.
Here.
Councilman Dishaw.
Here.
Councilman Ferrand.
Here.
Councilman Martin.
Here.
Councilman DeFend.
Here.
Councilman Roble. Here. We have a quorum.
All righty. Can I get a motion and support to approve the meeting minutes from July 1st, 2024?
I'll make the motion.
Support. Motion, support. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against? Okay, and we're going to move to awards and presentations, and our firefighter is not going to be on this one, but we do have some police awards.
Good afternoon, good evening. This is the second time that we've had some officers come forward. This is a pretty big event that we had in our city back in April 28th. 2:46 in the morning, Corporal Slarb was the acting sergeant working the front desk in the dispatch. He received a 911 call from a female regarding her boyfriend who was assaulted. Corporal Beggs, Officer Engel, and Officer Denson arrived at the scene and determined that the male subject, had been stabbed multiple times. Unfortunately, Officer Engel has since left employment at the Flat Rock Police Department. Corporal Slarb continued to gather all necessary information on the desk and provide it to the responding officers. Corporal Beggs and Officer Denson immediately started to perform first aid and tactical casualty care for the male victim, who was stabbed over 10 times all over his body. They applied multiple tourniquets and compressions to the male's wounds. The fire department arrived on scene, and they transported the male to Corwell Trenton ER for medical attention. Without the efforts of the officers involved with the male victim, he would have likely died from his wounds. The officers, without hesitation, relied on their training and experience and saved the victim's life. Corporal Slarb, Corporal Beggs, and Officer Denson were then able to obtain information on the suspect. He was located, taken into custody without incident at the Telegraph Manor Motel with the assistance of the Rockwood and the Brownstown Police Departments. Corporal Slarb, Corporal Beggs, and Officer Denson then together as a team processed the entire scene, which was probably one of the biggest crime scenes I've seen in my 33 years of police officer. It stretched from the Telegraph Manor all the way to O'Reilly Auto Parts. They secured all the necessary evidence. Once we secured a search warrant for the inside of the motel, we believe we gathered the weapon that was involved in the attack. We were able to secure charges on the suspect for assault with intent to murder, assault to do great bodily harm less than murder, and felonious assault. The suspect is awaiting trial at the Frank Murphy Halls of Justice 3rd Circuit Court. The victim is still recovering from his wounds that night. Without their teamwork that night, Corporal Slarb getting the information on the desk and relaying it to the officers, there's no doubt we would have had a homicide in our city that night, and they did outstanding work. I think they used 2 or 3 tourniquets. I'd like to bring all 3 of them down. First award, life-saving award, is Corporal Slarb's second this year. In recognition for your life-saving actions as the officer in charge on April 28, 2024, you maintained a calm and professional demeanor while dispatching police and fire units to assist responding officers to a stabbing. The officer's actions then saved the life of the victim, Flat Rock Police Department, as of July 15, 2024. Corporal Scott Beggs, in recognition of your life-saving actions on April 28, 2024, your immediate actions of providing casualty treatment with life-saving techniques and strategies saved the life of a stabbing victim while on scene. Officer Denson, in recognition of your life-saving actions on April 28, 2024, your immediate actions of providing casualty treatment with life-saving techniques and strategies saved the life of the stabbing victim on scene. Congratulations.
Chief, can we get a photo with your officer?
Absolutely. Come on this side.
Good job, fellas.
They all got their vests on.
You don't?
No.
Okay, we got a few. We'll get them out to you. Okay. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Very proud of you.
Traditionally, the Officer of the Year award is given a little bit earlier in the year. We gathered the information from the officers that had a chance to have input in this. The Officer of the Year for 2023 is Detective Lieutenant Rembez. Just so you know, he decided to have a baby on the 27th of April and left me in charge of the Detective Bureau for the stabbing, so it really kind of threw a wrinkle at the weekend. 2023 Police Officer of the Year presented to Detective Lieutenant Christopher Rembez. The Flat Rock Police Officer of the Year awarded annually to the police officer who most exemplifies integrity, courage, productivity, professionalism, attitude, work ethic, and providing outstanding, honorable police services to the Flat Rock community. Lieutenant, congratulations.
We'll get one with you too. One with a smile.
They say timing's everything, so good job.
All right.
Oh, oop, Jen's gonna go. Then we'll get him outside.
I'll send all the pictures to Steve and let him distribute.
Thanks. Just a little bit about Lieutenant Rembez's commitment to the department. He was hired as an officer in 2016. He was a field training officer, field training sergeant in 2022, field training supervisor, field training commander. 2023, he was promoted to lieutenant. And with the plethora of FOIAs that we get throughout the city, this man takes care of everything with Becca. Works tirelessly in the FOIAs and was very instrumental in getting the pay scheduling system that we went to that's computerized that saved us quite a few pieces of paper in the last, since January. He's worked as the lone detective in the Detective Bureau for months as Detective Mullins got reassigned to the road. He's very dedicated to the profession, and as his grandfather's retired from the Trenton Police Department, and his uncle is retired from the Trenton Police Department, so generations of police work and dedication. I can't thank you enough for your job. Thank you.
All right. And on to the mayor's comments. And the only thing I have to comment on this evening is our garbage situation. I don't know if anybody watches local news. It's been on Channel 4, it's been on Channel 7. The poor service we were getting from GFL at the end there was much worse than anybody anticipated. When the garbage trucks got turned over to Priority the day before they were supposed to go out, a good number of them were not roadworthy. So not only did they slack off on picking up our garbage, they slacked off on the maintenance of the trucks that they were turning over to Priority. Priority took over 73 new cities, and every single city has been getting calls and calling them. I can't thank Eric enough for all the phone calls and all the work he's done trying to get a hold of them. I cannot thank everybody in the city hall because the phone calls have been more than numerous, hundreds, if not into thousands. And some people are not nice about it. And it's too bad because the people in City Hall answering the phones, they have nothing to do with the garbage service. They're answering the phones. So at least try to treat them with some respect. We have talked to Priority. I do believe last week they were a little bit better than the week before. I noticed, I just got home from work real quick, I noticed that recycling and garbage were picked up. Mine was supposed to be picked up today. The yard waste had not been as of yet, so, but they are getting better. So I just ask that, everybody maybe take a breath and calm down about the garbage. We don't have the staff to come by and pick up the garbage when they do miss, and this is something that the city contracts out. So we are at the mercy of Priority. And so far, they've been real good. I mean, I've talked to them several times. Eric has been on the phone with them almost every day. So we're keeping on top of it, and hopefully they can get their situation set. So with that, I will let Mr. Robos see what he has to say today.
Well, just want to say, sorry I missed the last meeting, but had to work. But it's a nice summer day. I'm just moving on down the line.
Mr. Bergeron.
Just pleasant to come in and see our officers getting all these awards, and that's fun stuff to see. So congratulations, every one of them.
Mr. Martin.
Congratulations to our officers on their awards. I'd also like to offer my condolences to the family of Patrick Hawkins and to the family of Michael Crowder. Michael has been in the city for a long time. Nobody knew he owned Michael's on the River, and it was a surprise that he passed. And the only other thing I have is, Eric, what's the deal with the occasional water leak on Telegraph in front of the Elks?
Storm drain.
It is storm drain.
Abandoned storm drain, when the water gets high, it'll pump out of there like it looks like a water drain.
Okay.
We've had it leak checked, we've looked into it. Old storm system.
Gonna take, any way we can take care of it, or have the county take care of it?
MDOT,
MDOT, yeah. It's their road.
maybe when they do the intersection, we can look at it.
Okay. That's all I had.
27, 28.
Larry?
Oh, one thing, the DDA brought a concern that would like me to bring it back to council. I'm doing some research on it. The food trucks, when you have a one-day activity, they're paying like $400 by the time they finish, and inspections and everything else. I'm asking the council to relook at it. I'll bring it back to the next council meeting and see if we can't consider maybe timeframes of how those inspections are being, and see if we can't help the DDA with that, because they still want those food trucks. The majority of those people are business owners on the DDA, so there is no real true conflict about food in town. And it's usually a one-day activity, or maybe 3 days, depending on what we're doing. So I'd like to bring that back to next council meeting, just so you know what's coming.
Why don't we talk about it ahead of time? We'll put it on the agenda.
Okay, I will, I'm in the middle of doing some of the research with the ordinances, and I know we adopted did we adopt the fee schedule that, I'll have to go back and see if we did a
Years
resolution.
ago, yeah.
Yeah.
And see,
It was a fee schedule, yeah.
I'll do the research on it.
Okay. Yeah, we
Just
can
let you know that
absolutely
it's
get
coming.
that on the agenda.
It's coming. If you have any thoughts on it, give me a call. Any concerns? Other than that,
Mr. Defend.
Nothing tonight.
Albert.
Just what's on the agenda.
All right. Okay, reports from department heads. Let's start with the library. Treasurer?
Okay.
My only report is I keep receiving questions from non-union employees if they're going to receive the 2% that was budgeted by the city council. And I don't have an answer for them. So I'm just passing that along to the city council. It was budgeted at 2%. It has not been authorized, and the employees are wondering if they're going to get anything this fiscal year. So that's my only report.
Thank you. Liz?
Actually, tonight I get to read off my phone because there's so many new things I can't keep them all up here. Flat Rock, our hometown, and the DDR are presenting a family festival at Hurock Park on July 17th, this week. This is our first event of the week, following up with Taste of Flat Rock on Saturday from 12 to 4, which has been moved from Huron River Drive and will now be along Arsenal Road, should you guys approve the closure of it this evening, because of the construction on Gibraltar. The Family Fest is a combination of several of our normal events. So it will start with Chalk the Walk at 4 p.m., and that's supported by Michelle Davis of Remax Masters and Baby Coffee Flat Rock. They're inviting artists of all ages to display their talents along the park's 3/4-mile sidewalk. Additional attractions include a bounce house, a kids train, cornhole, various crafts and activities presented by the Flat Rock Recreation Department, and they run until the movie starts at 6:30. The movie feature for the night is Lilo and Stitch, which will be shown on a giant digital screen and is supported by the Flat Rock DDA and local businesses. A selection of popcorn, candy, and other snacks will be for sale before and during the movie. And the Taste of Flat Rock is an event that has grown exponentially over the years, and people have come to look forward to having that event. And we just have to move it this year because of the construction on Gibraltar. And we hope next year to be back on here on River Drive, right in the center of the downtown. So, other than that, that's all I have.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Wade.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I was going to announce what Liz just announced, but I want to add to the events for this upcoming week. She mentioned Wednesday's event with the Chalk the Walk and the Family Fest, but this Thursday is actual concert in the park as well. I want to make sure I get that out there. The band that they're having,
It's a Bob Seger tribute.
it is correct, very popular. So it's supposed to be a good crowd,
It
good
had
music.
a huge crowd last year.
Yes,
It was
yes, yes.
fantastic.
So I want to make sure I announce that. So Hurock Park at 6:30.
Bring your chairs.
This Thursday, and bring your chairs. That's all I have.
Thank you. Eric.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Vreeland's moving along. We've got our Eagle permit going. They were happy as long as we didn't change the profile of the ditch concerning the wetlands on the far end. And the Gibraltar water main, they're doing service lines right now, and concrete's probably a couple weeks out. We got to meet with county in the morning because the patches we have cut versus how big they want cut are two different things. So that's tomorrow morning. And that's all I've got.
All right, and on Vreeland, I would like to thank Darren Camilleri and Jamie Thompson, both. I talked to them both several times about Eagle and the permitting. They both made phone calls and wrote letters, and I think they were instrumental in getting that
definitely
pushed through.
helped. Yep.
And I'd like to thank both of them. So, okay. Glenn. Okay, Mr. Beck. Okay, Steve.
Good evening again. We're waiting on our 2 new cars from Gorno. Our new Glocks have come in, and we haven't issued them yet or gone through the training. And part of that, we signed an agreement with Rockwood to use their range, which is a free of charge range at Silica. So we'll be able to use that more and more. Just signed that with them last week, so that will assist us greater instead of paying to use Taylor and Trenton's range all the time. The DCC DMA technology grant that we've been promised since January apparently has made its way from the state level to the DCC, and we are just waiting for the money, which will start the flock program moving forward with the DDA and the cameras and all the rest of the technology money that we can submit to get covered by that. That's it.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you. Rebecca.
Just a reminder to turn in your absentee ballots if you have them.
All right. Mr. Zick.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just what's on the agenda this evening.
Okay. With that, let's move to citizens to be heard. Questions or input on agenda items. Is there anybody who would like to speak to anything on the agenda? Not on that. All right. We have no unfinished business. So new business, we'll move to the letter of resignation by our city treasurer, Tim Sadowski. Can I get a motion and support to accept it, and then we'll have a little discussion?
So move.
Support. Motion, support, discussion?
Thank you for your work. You settled it.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. I think you did a fantastic job, and I hate to see you go. But thank you for everything you did while you were here.
He's got other fires to put out.
He's moving onward and upward.
Yeah,
You're
thank
right,
you.
it's your job.
Appreciate it. Wish you were a little more direct. No, it's appreciated, and good luck to you.
All right, with that, all in favor of accepting Tim's resignation, say aye.
Aye.
All against? Okay, motion
Thanks for your
passes.
service, Tim.
And with that, I would like to make a motion that's not on the agenda, that we hire a new city treasurer and also make him city manager in charge of all of our departments, in all of the day-to-day operations of the city. I would like to get a support for Brian Marciniak with a salary of $115.
I'll support it.
Motion support. Do we have any discussion on it?
It's about time you came back.
We never wanted him to leave. He was bought away.
So if we argue about the pay, he's sitting out there, we're gonna, he'll see us saying it.
Yeah, I know. Essentially.
Okay, with that, all in favor of bringing back Mr. Marciniak? Say aye.
Aye.
All against? The ayes have it. Welcome back to Flat Rock, Mr. Marciniak.
My pleasure. Looking forward to it.
Okay, with that, Mr. Owens, I believe you are up next.
What about the,
All right. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. The first thing I would like to do is obtain approval to pay an invoice of $3,519.03 to McQueen Fire Equipment for turnout fire gear for Brad Smith. We do have a supply up in the room up there. Unfortunately, we weren't able to find any that actually fit him appropriately that was still within date. So out of the last several employees, he's the first one that I've had to buy gear for. We did find, we had helmet, boots, gloves, but unfortunately, we didn't have the coat and the pants, and that's what the cost is for.
Can I get a motion to approve?
Y'all too small?
Actually, no.
They're all too big, but okay.
Some were too long.
All right, we have a motion support. Any discussion on it? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All against? He has his shirt and pants.
Excellent. Thank you. The second item, this is the fun one. Currently, our equipment, our medical equipment, I've referenced this in the past. It is sorely outdated. We have several items that are long past the end of service life as recommended by the manufacturer. And I spoke with Stryker Medical Equipment, who is our vendor that we use, and we were able to come up with a purchase plan to be able to replace and purchase new equipment over a 5-year period. The benefit to the program here is that we would be able to obtain all the equipment at today's prices. Historically, the costs have gone up every year by at least 3 to 5%. Since 2021, though, they've gone up between 19 and 39%, depending on the equipment. With this equipment, basically, we would need a little bit of a down payment. Once that's done, then each year after that, we'd have a liability of, was it 82,000 and change, 81,248.80 per year. This will supply us with 2 brand-new 12-lead heart monitors, 2 Lucas devices, the automatic compression devices. The one that we have currently has 2 years left on its end-of-life service date. We will get a pretty decent credit for this equipment that we do turn back in. 2 of our heart monitors are over 11 years old. All right, and we do have A couple of stair chairs, which we use to transport our patients, those are 18 years old. Again, they have an 8-year service life. We've been fortunate enough to be able to keep those in service, but unfortunately, we have a problem with going against the manufacturer's recommendation on service life. With all of this being done, we would have a second stretcher and power load for our second ambulance. Currently, our ambulance is utilizing one that we have borrowed for the last few years, from one of our neighboring communities. We should actually have our own. That would include in this program, as I mentioned, a second Lucas device, so that both ambulances or the Echo unit would be able to utilize the Lucas automatic compression device. I know it's a big cost.
That would be less transfer of equipment when the front rig goes out too, so you would actually be able to just move the drug box and some other
Exactly.
similar equipment as opposed to.
Essentially, the only thing we would be moving would be the drug box and the APAC.
So
And we
you'd
would
be
have that.
completely supplied with it.
Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion.
Well, before you do, so you're talking about the plan as far as us doing it in 5 years?
Correct.
Do they have some kind of extended plan for?
The service plan? Or-
No, for like for servicing or anything? So any of those go down?
This would include the service plans for this equipment as well. Currently, the only items that we have under a service plan is one of our 3 heart monitors and the Lucas device. And those both expire in 2 years, the service plans as well as the service life on those. So right now, the 2 other heart monitors we have, they can't even service them because they're so far past the end of service life.
On those service plans, by chance, do they give you, if something goes wrong, a turnaround time on how quick they can have a new
Yes.
one or a?
Yes, I don't have the exact date on that. I've been working with this company for quite a few years, and every time in the past, if, say, our heart monitor had a problem, I called them up, the service tech comes out with another heart monitor, takes mine away, and a few days later, he's back. I mean, they've always provided great service.
All right, perfect.
And this is in your budget for this year, and then you'll provide for it in your budgets in the years to come.
The 12,000 that I spoke of, speaking with Mr. Sadowski, there are some funds available through the opioid settlement fund, which would cover that initially, and then obviously for the next few years, we would go ahead and budget that. One of the other benefits is we obtain the equipment now, today, and we'd be able to put it all in service.
All right, somebody who made a motion already? Made a motion? I supported it. Okay. Motion support, any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against? All right, you're all set with that.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Chief. Thank you. Okay, and on the next one, we need to get a motion and support to close down Arsenal Road for the Taste of Flat Rock, was it? Yes.
I'll make a motion.
I'll support.
Arsenal Road?
Yeah.
Yes, on
Front of the park.
7/15.
Front of the park, yeah, front of the park.
Yeah.
7/20.
720.
Doesn't say.
7/20.
Saturday.
I'm
Yes.
reading this. Oh, city agenda for 15th, I'm sorry, for Saturday, okay. You made the motion?
Yes, sir.
Do we have support?
Support.
All, any other comments on it? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against? All right, and we have one mayoral reappointment for Diane Parker back on the DDA. Can I get a motion and support for that?
So moved.
I'll make a motion. She's a
Support.
wonderful person. She does a lot for the DDA,
She does a lot for the city.
a lot for the city, so.
Absolutely. Okay, motion support. All right, any other comments on it? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against? We have it. And do we have any late
You need
correspondence?
to go back to it.
Oh, I do need to go back, I'm sorry. For the special assessment, we need to get a motion and support and vote in the resolution.
So moved to adopt the resolution.
Support.
Motion, support. Any other comments on it? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against? The ayes have it. Do we have any late correspondence? No late correspondence. Do we have anything else from any citizens to be heard? Come on up.
Just two little things, and I spoke to a couple of them over there. I have a woods behind me in here in Woods. I live on Apple Grove Way. My neighbor and I, right immediately behind us, which is wetlands, somebody bought that property. There is a humongous tall tree. It's probably 50 feet tall. A limb fell off in her yard. The thing shakes back and forth. It's right behind our fences. When that thing falls, it's gonna hit either her house or mine. So, what is the procedure to address this gentleman that owns this property? Does the city, do we do it? How can we, I don't even know who owns this property. But I want to see if he'll take care of, there's a limb in her yard and she can't move it. And it fell off of that tree. It's just a matter of time and this tree is going to go. And it's going to either hit her house or my house. We could get lucky and it could fall backwards, but who knows? It's going to take out our fences. So I don't know.
We'll have our DPW take a look at it and find out who owns the property and
Yes.
see where we can go from there.
Okay, that's one. Number two, had to get a new air conditioner after 28 years. I don't know why, but I had to. Okay, they called on Friday and the city inspector has to come out and inspect, 2 of them. Okay, what time? Between 8 and 2. I said, for 6 hours? I said, isn't this a city employee? And the girl said, no. Well, he is, but he isn't. He inspects numerous cities. Okay, that's 6 hours. Normally, when you have any deliveries, they give you a 4-hour window. They want me to wait from 8 until 6. I told her, what happens if I have an emergency? I have to leave, something comes up. I'll be charged $85 for not being home. That is unbelievable. I can see where you don't want people to schedule inspections and then just go away. I understand that. But $85 is a bit much. And a 6-hour window, I think you need to relook at that, limit it down to 4, or else have the homeowner say, can you come between 8 and 12 or 12 and 4? I mean, to have someone wait there all day, and then if you have to go for any reason, emergencies happen. That's what I asked the clerk. She said, well, you'll be charged $85. I go, if it's an emergency, I'm leaving. And I'm not paying the city $85 in case something happens. So I just think that the mayor and council, you need to readdress that, look at that, procedures, whatever you want to call it. I think you need to narrow that window down to 8 to 12 or 12 to 4. And someone shouldn't sit there all day for an inspector. And then if something comes up and you have to leave, then they're going to bill you $85? That's not right. We're already paying for the inspector. Okay, that's it. Thanks.
So, just a quick comment. I know when I've been in this situation where I'm waiting around, something that's, some of the companies do is they do a text, right? They'll text out or a call and say, hey, I'm gonna be there, I'm wrapping up my job, I'm gonna be there, and in this case, if they're in Flat Rock, it's probably gonna be 10 minutes, right? But at least, you know, you can run, do errands within the area, right, and then get home, but
Yeah.
something along those
We'll
lines.
have to look at see what we're doing.
If that's possible, that'd be helpful, I think, because 6 hours is, you're sitting there the whole day possibly, you know.
Yeah, 6 hours is a little bit of a window. Agreed. Do we have anybody else? You can start at the top and come on down.
Hey, I just want to thank everybody for their service, first and foremost. I want to especially thank you for voting no on the 1 mil. Yet I appreciate your concerns, Mayor. I know what it's running a budget is like. I run one for my home. The city is exponential of that. I was saying to Larry Dishaw, in '65, when the city incorporated, probably that group of people thought we could get something if we incorporate better city services, police department, fire department. Those are the things that I know you guys all know, so I'm not saying something you don't know. But as a citizen, I'm not here a lot, and I know there's a lot of people that aren't here a lot. I think we all feel the same way, including you, if you're residents of Flat Rock. I want new fire department equipment. I want new health and life-saving equipment. I want our employees treated well. But when we incorporated, we did it as a group of citizens, and I want to make sure that everybody keeps that in mind, that the citizens are the #1 priority, followed by essential city services, followed by how well we can treat our employees and afford to do so, and then everything else comes after that. And that everything else can be a lot of good things for a city, like our recreation department and so forth. But please continue to use your diligence when it comes to taxes. It's easy. I know you guys have a ceiling. You have to vote it up. It's the first thing that you would leap to. And as employees, you're a family. You know, you see each other more than you ever see citizens except for your neighbors, but we're out there. And it's not a threat, it's a request. I want to continue to live in Flat Rock. I want to be able to afford to. I'm blessed, I can, but I know people that are struggling to do so. So while it's a first decision, if you're faced with budgetary problems and constraints, raising the taxes is probably the easiest thing you can do. Making those cuts, I know I'm on a board at church, and we're looking at financial issues. Where do you want to cut the ministry? Where do you want to cut city services? It's difficult, I understand. But I want to thank you for the decision you came to. I watched, or I listened because the camera wasn't working. But that night when that meeting was taking place with that 1 mil, I was relieved because we have other areas that I think we can look at. I was talking to the mayor. My wife and I are both members of the rec center, and Rodney, I don't want to diss on you. And it has nothing to do with you at all. It's a wonderful thing, I know that, and it's a wonderful thing. We love going up there. It's a gem, like I said to the mayor. Cities don't enjoy that kind of a thing. But there may come a time, if we're subsidizing it too heavily, that we're going to have to make that painful decision to move on. And I hope we have the wisdom to do that when the time comes. But other than that, thank you very much.
If the time comes.
Right. Well, and I would say that time would come before we would ever raise $1 of taxes. That's one of those other things below that hierarchy that we're here to serve.
Right.
In my opinion. But anyway, thanks you guys and ladies
Thank
for
you.
your service.
Thanks for your
Very
kindness.
much.
Well said.
Up at the top.
I just have a comment for the mayor. You did call me on a Wednesday afternoon,
Yes,
and I had other responsibilities that I was not able to be there, and I understood that you said you were going to call the next day, which was July 4th. I did not expect you to call July 4th, but apparently tomorrow has never come because I've never gotten a phone call
I
in the
do
past
about-
10,
It was
12
shut down at
days.
work. I've been on 12-hour days since the last time you were here. I've worked every day, including weekends and holiday, 12 hours since the last time you were here. And you're right, I did call you, and I was at work, and I do have your thing up at my cabinet at work, and I just didn't get back. I did look into it, that's why I was calling you. That pool is considered a temporary pool. The reason why it just has a sheet down underneath it and the shape that it is, that is a temporary pool. That's not made to be up through the winter. That's not made to be there the whole time. So I contacted the planning commission because they are going to have to revisit what is in the city charter as far as pools go, because these pools have come around since that was written. They're kind of a new thing, and they're temporary pools. And no one's changing anything. When I talk to the DPW and I talk to the building department, because it's temporary, if they need to get into that easement for what's underneath there, they can get in there the next day. Because it is a temporary pool. They can take that down in a day. So,
I'd like to see that done.
well, again, it's a temporary
Okay,
pool. I've seen those, so.
Well, I have a few questions for mayor and council. Number one, what action does the city of Flat Rock take when the city knowingly violates one or more of its own ordinances and/or policies?
the city, what did the city violate?
I believe,
You mean the
It's-
resident who has the pool?
no. The city violated the policy because they issued a permit, and it says, let me find it here. Pool must be located a minimum of 1 foot from any easement. The pool is sitting on top of the easement.
So again, I think, as Mayor Beller indicated, that because of the type of structure that it is, because it's a temporary pool, that it is not a violation of that ordinance. I should say it's in compliance with the ordinance.
That's not what it says here. It says indicate the type of pool, in ground, above ground, inflatable. Then it says temporary. There's nothing in here that says a temporary pool can be placed on top of an easement. That's not what the ordinance or regulations or policy states.
Right, that's what I said, they have to go back and redo it.
So,
because these
right
pools
now-
are a new thing.
Right now, the city is in violation of the ordinance.
No, I disagree with that.
Is this a matter of, like, a new term pops up, it's never put into the official books, and now there's a gray area of designation, calling it what it is?
They have a new product now.
Yeah, I think that's a very.
Because the three
yeah.
categories that she had stated, she's right, temporary is not in there, which it doesn't say.
This is an above-ground pool.
But it's designated as temporary.
What, and I think you also have to look at the heart or the reasoning why these ordinances and zonings go on, right, is they needed access to that easement,
I agree.
right? So I'm not agreeing or disagreeing, I'm just right, if we look back and we kind of, okay, so if it's a temporary, quote-unquote temporary, and you're saying maybe in your eyes it's not so temporary, that's fine, but if it's as a temporary, right, they would have access. Like the mayor said, it could be, taken down in a day, right? It need be, and you're questioning that, and I'm not the authority on that, right? But what I'm saying is, that's kind of the premise on why that was written, is to have access to that easement. And I think these pools, for the most part, probably do, right? Now, that may not help you with
Well,
your flooding or worried about flooding, but
Let me ask this. It says on here that the homeowner will indicate that they will meet all of the 2015 International Swimming Pool and Spa Code and Michigan Residential Code requirements. Do they have to put something in writing that they will do that?
Safety ladders, things like that, yeah.
yeah, I don't.
Yeah, my understanding is that something in the permitting process that would be verified if that's within compliance with the building code or the swimming pool.
Well, who assumes liability for that then when the homeowner has never been in compliance with the safety codes? Since that pool was filled with water on July 1st, it has been out of compliance 100% with safety.
In regards to, what's the specific?
In regards to access to that pool. Number one, the pool has a 5-foot wall on it. And I understand, if there's a 5-foot wall, you do not have to have a security fence around the area, the yard.
So I'm not positive what I want to say, and this is speaking out of my hat, because let me tell you what, I'm not an expert on this, but I want to say it was 52 inches, the height of the pool, but I'm not positive on that.
No.
I read it probably 3-4 years ago, so I'm
But it says pool sides
recalling
must
it.
be a minimum of 48 inches.
Well, it used to be 48, and then you have to have something around there, I think at 48, but if it goes to 50 or 52, then you don't have to have a fence, but go ahead, we can look into this.
Well, it says pool sides must be a minimum of 48 inches to qualify as a barrier. Okay?
Yep.
I was told that the pool sides is 5 feet, so it qualifies as a barrier. However, it has type A ladder, an A-frame ladder. That ladder was put in the pool over the side July 1st when the pool was filled with water. That ladder has not been secured or removed from that pool since July 1st. There has been open access to that pool by anyone and everyone that wants to get in that pool. There has been no secure pool cover on that pool. If you're going to leave the ladder in there, then you have to have a secure cover on that pool. There has been no cover on that pool except just a tarp thrown over it. So if you're not securing that pool, either by removing the ladder or putting a secure cover on it, then you better have a secure fence around the yard with a secure gate.
And there's not a secured fence or a
No,
secured
sir,
gate?
there
It's just
is
open?
not. There's 2 sides. There's a garage on one side that does half of it. There's another area that there is not a secure fence. They put up a chicken wire fence. And in front of the garage, between the garage and the house, there is nothing. It's on the alley. And to top it off, there are several homes in the immediate area that have young children. Now, I'm sorry, but that is a liability for the city, because if a child gets in that pool and drowns, you are responsible as well as the homeowner, because you have been alerted that there was a problem there. The homeowner has not followed any of the safety regulations. They have not followed any of the policies for that.
We'll have to have an inspector come out and take a look again and talk to the homeowner.
Well-
And we'll have to talk to the owner and find out their information.
Would that be an ordinance officer?
Yeah, yes.
Well,
So
while
we'll
they're out
have
there.
to have them look into it.
While they're out there, they need to
They need to do
check
their jobs.
on the lawn, weeds, whatever you want to call it, because in the years that that homeowner has lived there, they have never cut their lawn in the backyard without the ordinance officer having to go out there, and I believe they ended up having to issue them a ticket to get them to cut it. Right now, the weeds are like this in the backyard, all the way around the pool.
We'll have to,
If they observe a violation,
yes,
they'll
if they,
address it.
yeah, if they observe anything else, they'll address it. Exactly.
Well,
We'll send out
I-
an ordinance officer, and we'll get a professional
okay,
opinion on
but
it.
what, you're reading something else into this. How does any citizen, given this, know what you are talking about? Does this qualify? Does this qualify?
Well, you would call the city hall and talk to the department head.
And that's what I did. And I was not told because it was a temporary pool.
Well, after your last meeting, I went to both of them, both our DPW and our building department, and that's what I was told. So we will send out an ordinance
Interesting.
officer, and we will get an opinion.
Interesting. And the homeowner has not been in compliance with safety regulations.
We will have an ordinance officer go out and look. I'm not an ordinance officer.
Well, I
did
lived
drive
there.
by and saw the pool, and last time you said it was all awkward, the way it was
And it
angled
was.
on. Well, that's the way it's supposed to be. I looked them up on the internet. That's the way those are. So it is put up correctly.
But if it's put up on an easement,
Again, that goes
why
back-
do they
we
not
will-
have to get a variance for something?
Because it's not permanent. It's like putting a tent.
It doesn't matter, it's
That's
still,
like putting a tent up
it's
for the
still
summer.
going against the regulations, the
We will have
ordinance.
the ordinance officer out there and look at it. That's the most I can do right now.
Well, my only comment will be, I hope and pray that someone doesn't fall in that pool and drown.
Agreed. I would not like to see
Because
that
it
in
has
any
been a
pool in the
safety
city.
violation for 2 weeks. Nobody has been out there. Nobody seems to care. Nobody gives a crap about the situation. It's being tried to be explained away and glossed over.
I don't think that's a fair statement at all. What you gotta understand is, you're looking at it through your lens, right? And you want us to side with you right now, but we
No, I
can't-
want you to follow your own policies.
And we are. And we gotta take a look at it through everybody, because we represent not only you, we represent the person that has that pool. And as long as they follow the city ordinances and then.
They're not.
Okay, then.
The city's
when
not
we-
even following your own ordinance.
Well, we are, but
How? How are you following your own
because
ordinance?
it's a temporary pool. You never said, first of all, you never said, when you called our building inspectors, you never said it was temporary. You said there was a pool that's on an easement, right? Understand, because you're not an expert, I don't think, are you, on
It
pools?
doesn't matter whether it's temporary or not, it's on an easement. This doesn't say, how do you get to change the rules?
It's not changing the rules.
Yes, it is.
Okay, all right.
Okay,
Listen,
we'll agree to disagree,
Yes,
right?
we-
Let's just agree to disagree.
We will
But we
sign
gotta
that.
My
represent,
concern, I don't give a crap about the pool. My concern is, number one, you're not following your own ordinances. And secondly, my main concern is the safety in that neighborhood with the kids. I am a registered nurse, and I have been for many, many years. So safety is number one for me, and there is no conscious attempt by that homeowner for any safety measures. None whatsoever. There has been nobody out there to look at the pool or even address that. And you've got this taste of whatever coming up. You're gonna have a lot of people walking around Flat Rock. It's on the alley. We have people walking up and down the alley all the time. And there is open access to that pool by anyone and everyone.
we'll have our
And that's
inspectors
been
go over
for
there and take a
2
look.
weeks
and
since
if-
the pool was put up. I thought there was supposed to be a final inspection on the pool.
I got
Why
a que-
weren't
I got a
those things
question- I got a
addressed?
question for you. Did you file a complaint in the building department?
Yes, I did.
Okay, then we'll follow up with that complaint and find out where it's at. That's what we need to do. We gotta follow our process. So we gotta
That
find
was
out what.
filed 2 weeks ago.
I understand. And we have to find out where that complaint is at. We need to get a legal opinion based on the issues you brought up forward, and we'll have our city attorney and the building director work together, and we'll resolve this. Once it's brought to us here, I will follow through with it. Don't worry about it. At this point in time, if the
And in the
complaint's in the building,
meantime-
if the complaint's in the building department, I will follow through with it. Tomorrow, I will go find out where it's at. And if there's a legal opinion or a question in regards to it, we'll call the city attorney and we'll have a legal opinion. Please keep working with the building department. That's what
I have tried, I have called, they do not answer the phone, they do not respond, they do not return my calls.
I will fix that for you. I will find out where your complaint is, and I will let you know. We'll find out where
Well,
it's
in the
at.
meantime, what
We will
happened to
have
that
somebody,
unsecured
we
pool?
will have somebody out there looking at it. So, thank you. Anybody else?
Okay, so I'm Josh D. I live in Pebblebrook subdivision. And I had inquired previously about the vacant lots in Bradbury Park. And I did some digging. but I found that J and V Holdings LLC are the ones that own that property. And the individuals that own this property they are Vito J. Monaco of Rochester Hills and John W. Bertram II of West Bloomfield Township. These two individuals in 2007 were charged with embezzling $2.5 million from the employee injury compensation fund. So that would be the compensation insurance companies. Those are the ones that offer injury money to the employees who get injured. And these two individuals, that's why it is J&V Holdings, because it is John and Vito. These guys are criminals, they're crooks, they were charged, and they had to pay restitution. The IRS seized the golf course in Oakland Township as part of restitution for the money they stolen. My question is to confirm one way or the other that there's no legal issues here, that these two gentlemen own these properties because they own the company, the holdings, and if that is any kind of legal issue or some sort of conflict of interest in it, that we investigate it. I don't know. I don't feel.
Well, if they own the properties, you can't stop anybody from owning a property, even if they're past criminals.
Well,
I don't think the city's had any business with them, outside of them just owning.
Meaning if their purchase agreements, paperwork, whatever, could be gone over or looked at or audited at some point. I don't know if that's something the city attorney would do or what the case may be, but personally, I don't like the fact that they own those properties.
You know how many lots they own?
I can tell you right here.
You just want us to take a closer look at their contracts, just to.
Yeah.
They own 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 lots. And some of it is prime real estate.
Well, I know we can't do anything about taking property or anything, but.
And the city of Milan has also issued violations of ordinances towards Vito Monaco for one of his properties that had been deemed unsafe because they considered it a hazardous building, but it's actually a foundation on a lot that's been sitting there forever and it can no longer be built on, so it's got to be considered dangerous, demolished, and rebuilt. So I just asked that.
I'm not aware of anything that we have.
Yeah, I don't believe any of those 15 lots are.
Probably all vacant.
Right, so, but that would be absolutely a reason that I would get involved is if there was a situation like that, because you can't leave it in a dangerous condition. So I applaud that city attorney, he's doing the right thing in that instance. But I think these lots are just vacant lots, is my understanding. We can double check that, but.
Correct, they are vacant lots. I just ask that whatever the purchase agreement, the contracts that they have, be looked into and make sure that everything on there is legit, because one of the things that they had done, which is documented, was hide finances and change the way their income looks so they could make certain investments and they can collect these compensation claims. That's all I have.
Thank you for the heads up. And do we have any other comments from the audience? All right. With that, Mr. Robel.
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
Motion support. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All against? Meeting adjourned.
Network.